Greetings and welcome to another video from odooclass.com. In this video we're going to take a look at the Odoo 11 website builder. We call this video course the Website Builder Bootcamp because we're going to go through the entire web building application from front to back and show you pretty much every option that's available to you with the standard default Odoo web builder. So let's get started. Like usual, we've created a brand new database so you can follow along if you like. I've just given it a name here, email, doesn't have to be an actual email as we've learned, and a password. I've defaulted the country so that at least it has a chart of accounts in it. It should not matter, however, for this actual video. So once the database has been created, we next need to install the website builder application. So down here where it says website builder, build your enterprise website, you can click install. And don't get confused by it saying enterprise website here. It really is the community edition. This is Odoo 11 community, in fact, and the website builder application itself is the same whether you're in enterprise or community, outside of just a couple of features like A/B testing, which lets you create alternate pages for your website. But other than that, the community edition is the same. So now here you can see that we get an opportunity to choose your theme. Now you can do the default or you can do the boot swatch. I'm gonna, for this example, we're going to start with the default, and we're just going to stick with it just a second so that I can show you how you can switch to a different theme. So when I hit use this theme and it installs the default website builder theme in Odoo, you can see that it comes here to our welcome to your home page. Let's start designing, and it tells you here that you can follow these little teardrops to get your site ready in no time. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's follow these teardrops. So as you can see, to edit this page, we can come up here in the top right corner and click on edit, and the tip there tells us click edit to start designing your website, and it gives us a tip here under the cover to drag and drop the cover blocks into the page. So here are all the different blocks you can use to create the structure and content for your website. So I'm going to follow their example here, and we'll just click and drag this cover over and drop it on here, and it's going to give us some default text, some default background, and so forth. And as it says here, you can click on this text to start editing. So it's all built in right here. What you see is what you get when you change and modify the content here. So I'm going to say welcome to the Odoo web builder. And you can see that it's prompting here for us to customize any block through this menu. So when you're on a block like we are here, it puts this little menu bar up where you can customize. And so I click customize here, and it's prompting us just to change the background image. So you can pick different backgrounds here like that, of these that are built in. And then you can also come down here like for background color and pick a color where it'll just be that's your background color. And personally, I think especially if you're a new designer, be careful with using images like this for your background with text, because it gets really hard to read the text with these images and background. So that's independent Odoo. It's just my kind of experience has been, when in doubt, go with something like this so that everything's real easy to read, and then you use images in other places, which we can see here is an example how you can do that. Notice that we got this block done. Odoo's tour now is telling us here to drag another block into the page, and it says below the cover. But we don't have to follow their example. What I want to do is click and drag on this and show you that if you wanted to go above and place this new block above, if you drag up, you'll see right here it pop into place and show you what it's going to look like. And if I start dragging down here, and a little further, you can see it drops in place to show what it's going to look down here. So we'll go ahead and do it down here like they said, but I just wanted to show you that if you want, you can put it either above or below. You can't put it to the side with these items that are in the structure category up here. They're always going to be a top to bottom thing. And so once we got that new block in here, you can see that the Odoo tour is prompting us to save. So we hit save, and you can see now our page is refreshed. So we've created our first page. We've seen how to modify the content a little bit, and we're going to go back and go through these tools more after we get through their little tour and we've looked at these basic features. So another nice little feature that they're highlighting to us up here is that we can see a mobile preview of what this site would look like on a phone. So I can click on this and it shows us now a mobile preview. So we could see from this that this welcome is getting chopped off, at least in this mobile preview. So we would maybe want to come in and edit that to make the text appear better on a mobile phone. And then finally, you can see here that Odoo's prompting us that we can add and create a new page. So continue adding more pages to your site, make it look even more awesome. We click new, and you can see here that we're getting a little confirmation from Odoo that we've completed the tour. So we're not going to get any more of those little teardrops. And let's go ahead and just add a new page. So we'll add this page, and we're going to call this we'll just call this our products page. Even though we're not installing e-commerce right yet in this part of the video, we're still going to just call this products, for example. So when we hit continue, you're going to see that Odoo has made a menu for our new page, and then once again we can come down here and drag another block in. So since we've looked at the cover and we've looked at this image text side by side, I'm going to go and drag this title in, and we'll just drag the title in, and you can see that this is a little block that's really simple. It just gives you a title up here and then a little subtitle. So you would just go in here and change it, our new products, and say buy them today and be happy. Now, as you can see, this is a really simple block, and we'll draw attention now to these little arrows on the side like that. I can pick one of these up and drag it in, and you'll see that it will center it and obey our change there, like that. Now, if we drag a title in, you'll see that it still, because it's here, wants to be under it, because it's under this structure. And I'll make it smaller like that. And you can see that we have one on top of the other. If I click on it, it's only this little part inside that it sees is resized. You'll notice that there's this little up arrow, and if you hit that, there's actually a container for the whole thing. And it's always a top to bottom, like that. Now, if I try to drag it up here, you'll notice that I can put it above or below, but I can't really put it to the side. So that just is a limitation of this framework and this website builder. So looking at these tabs, obviously you can move using this little icon here. You can also duplicate. So I can duplicate this container and we get another one. I can duplicate it again and get another one. And as you might expect, the little remove block here will remove the containers. And you do want to click and make sure that you don't have extra containers you don't see, because as you can see, containers get nested. And now we're back to our single container here. So that gives you some of the very much basics of how you can get a website up and going quickly, how you can add these blocks to it, how you can make changes, how you can add new pages and create new items in the menu here. So now what we're going to do, because I do want this to be a comprehensive video that goes through all these options, we're going to systematically go through these so you understand what each one of them does and how they look. So remember, this text image, when we drag it, it gives you a text section over on this side and then an image on this side. So you can see this particular block actually has two sub-containers in it. So that gives us a little bit of flexibility. One of the things you'll see here that you can double click on this to bring up a way to change out the image. So you can pick from these images here, for example. You can upload your own image. There's documents that you can add, like different documents in place. Pictograms, these little pictograms here. And then finally you can actually embed a video, and you'll see that it accepts here YouTube, Instagram, Vine, and Daymotion, these videos here. So here you can just paste in a video URL and you'll have a video there. So let's pick a picture just so you can see how this works. You'll just pick a picture here and save it, and you'll see that it swapped out that picture. Now there are a few other little image things you can do besides just changing it out. If I click on it, you'll see that we have these little handles here that allow you to like add space above or below the image. So like if you wanted to move it down or move it up, you can do that like that. And this one, you'll notice when we do it like that way, it's resizing the image once we make that container small. It automatically resizes, and so you can use these to position things. In addition, like right now you're not able to really change where this is at. There's a little trick here that if you click on this, you can come up here and you'll see that there's a tool that says transform the picture. So we click this, and now we can do some things like resize it any which way we want in here. As you can see, we can even rotate it. So I think we have to get it in the right place here. Oops. Click it. We got our tool here. Now if I get it, I think it's like there it is. And now I can rotate the picture. Notice how I can just give it a rotation like that. And that definitely can have a nice look within the right layout, and for the right website, that definitely makes a difference. And you hit enter, it actually wrote over it. You don't hit enter, you just click out of it. So I was mistaken there. You don't click enter to accept your changes, you just click out of them and it accepts it. Alright, so so that's really what the transformation tool does. It lets you do those kinds of things, and also though it lets you move it around. So if you needed to, you could move it to another place on the screen. I don't think it's going to necessarily let us move it there. We'll see if it does, just for kicks. Here, save. Hey, it sure does. Okay, so as you can see, you can move that picture and get a lot more control of where it lands on the website. It's just underneath using CSS to put it in the place you want it. And let's see if it lets us easily edit it and reset it. So if I click on the picture, I can come up here and you can see it says double click this to reset it. So the tooltip didn't stay up as long as I thought. It says click twice to reset the transformation. So if you ever need to just get it back to default, you just click this twice like that. If you needed to insert a picture, like for example, maybe we wanted to insert a picture here in this content. Why was that hard to select text? Now I will say that their editors have never been my favorite in terms of the text editing, but they're passable. But let's, like, while we're talking about pictures, let's go ahead and see what we would maybe if we wanted to insert a picture here on this side. Now this is to walk you through the tools. We're not trying to create a beautiful website here, but let's go up here, and you can see that there's up here file image, and so I can click this and we're right back to here again. And this time, since it's a small little area, let's just pick a little graph or something, one of these, and hit save and see how that looks. And you can see there that it inserted that little picture just like that. So this can be really handy to use these pictograms to spice up your text. And it is acting really strange. Like I can't seem to just be able to go in here and select stuff. I guess you have to select stuff or get it in there. And it's behaving a little better now, but I felt like it was hard for me to get that click where I wanted it. anyway, so yeah, you can see that if I, inserting these little pictograms in there, can, in the right design again, add to the look of your content and keep it from being quite so mundane. It's just a block of text that you can actually kind of spice it up a little bit with some graphics in there. So while we're looking at this text selection, let's look down our toolbar and make sure we understand all the tools up here. Now the most important one probably, and I'll select this subtitle up here, is this very first one here, because this lets you set the style. And if I pick the style, you can see we have normal, which will be our blocks of text that, just like down in here that you're seeing. You have header 1, header 2, header 3, and we can see that this is header 3 right now. That's a header 3 style. And we go all the way down to 6, and then finally down here we have quote, or you can set a quote. So let's go ahead and just see if we change this from header 3 to header 4. You'll notice that it also realigned it for us, which wasn't really what we wanted, but you can see that it's smaller as well. And if we set it back, I'm not sure it'll realign it back to the right, but it definitely took our alignment with it when we applied the style. So these assigning these headers is important, not just for the look of your website, but also for Google's search engines and other search engines, that they look at these headers for content to determine how your page should be indexed and categorized. So it's important to use these. And just a small little tip: try to create titles and headings that you would think people would use in search engines or when they're looking for something on Google, or at least to include those kind of keywords, because you want people to find these pages. And one trick of people finding them is to have your headers defined with the style, but also that you make them meaningful and have keywords related to your topic. So next, we can just quickly go down here that if you want something bold, you can click this to bold it. So if we wanted Y to be bold, you can see it's bold now. If we come here and to the next, you can see we have an italics. We have an underline tool to underline our text. And then here's just a general size. So if you wanted to set the size different than what a style or the normal text is, you can do that. Now, I'll be the first to say also another little just web tip is usually probably stick to the styles that are under here for your text, and be somewhat conservative with using different italics and underlines in particular. It makes it harder for people to read, so just don't go overboard with all different kinds of colors and styles. So, and that's another, speaking of colors, that's what this is up here. That's going to assign whatever that background color was already here, but here's where we can pick what we want the background color of that text that's selected to be, and over here is what we can select what we want the font, like the actual text itself, to be. So we would probably, if we mess something up like I kind of did here, you can see I got hard here, so it's hard to read. I can come back up here and say set transparent, and then now you can see it just goes back to using the white background. It's transparent. It doesn't have a background color of its own. I'm going to come back down here, so this is a little easier to see down here. Let's take width and come back up here again. So if you use the theme colors, that's probably a good idea, especially if you're not a professional web designer, so that you get colors that match the theme. So I can say I want my background color to be that, and you can see that in this case when I did it, it made the text white, so it's easier to read. That's one advantage of using the styles, is it tries to protect you from making bad art decisions. And like I said, if you're not naturally gifted at this, or you haven't been trained, then sticking with these themes can help the look of your site. Now, if I wanted to, I can go and set that back to transparent, I missed that one over there, but that doesn't matter. Now that was the background of the text. Let's go over to the right side of this panel, and you can see here we can set the foreground of the text. So if I choose this, you'll see that now the background stays white, but the foreground color changes. So over here's anything you want to do to change with the background. Here's anything that you want to do to change the actual text of the font itself. You have your theme colors here, and then they have these common colors that you can pick from. From what I see, there's no way through the editor to just specifically set a color to a particular color that you might already have. Maybe you pulled it from another website. But this is a pretty you get a lot of choices here, and they're trying to help you make good design decisions. Later, a little bit later in this video, we're going to see how we can actually go in and, if we wish, assign any color we want by modifying the actual HTML code behind this. So that's enough on colors for fonts. We've also got some tools over here for like ordered lists. And so let me just click this and delete it all, and I'm gonna just start typing item number 1, item number 2, item number 3, and I'll select all of them like that, and you'll see that there's this unordered list, meaning that it's just bullets. And we can see because of our alignment, it's not being really smart. I would have expected it to kind of put the bullet, even though it was right aligned, to put the bullets over here. But here, we'll just jump real quickly to our alignment button and left align them. So you can see that this would be the normal way, any way that you would usually have a title up here, and then you would drop your items. And so if I hit enter, it's smart enough to stay in doing the unordered list. And this is just like pretty much any word processor. And if I hit enter a final time, then it gets out of it. And unlike good word editors and systems, this one kind of leaves you with an extra that you have to click here and then backspace to get rid of it. And then now you can click down and keep going. So expect to spend a little bit of time if you're messing with these lists, because sometimes you'll have a hard time, with an extra one, or you'll get an extra one in front. But just, you just click back up in here, and even when you're here, you just delete it just like it was almost a regular text item. Now, in addition to the bullets like this that they call unordered because they appear like they can be in any order, you also have an ordered list, and so that's just going to put the numbers there for you automatically. So in this case, we might, we'd probably come up and just get rid of that and just have the descriptions for the items here. So you have your numbered list, and then as we saw here, we have our alignment. So just to go back to this one, we have our left align, we can center align, and you can see here that they do have hotkeys for these. So Control Shift R would right align. We have a full justification. And what that means is if you have a lot of text like here, and let me copy it and paste it in here so you can kind of see what full justification does. First, we just come up here. I guess we can see now it's left, center, right, and then you'll see what full does is it's going to put in enough spaces so that it aligns on the right side. So if we duplicate our text again, you'll see it's a way to keep the text fully justified here on this end. There's no spaces at the end of this wall of text, whereas down here you notice that there is. So that's what full justify does. You'll see the difference if we come back and go to left justify, how those spaces now appear at the end, because as soon as a word won't fit, it wraps it. The full justification works by just padding with spaces. So it works with some content, it makes it look better. Others, that you get too much spaces in here, like this first sentence in particular is the one that it seems to have to be padded with the most spaces to get it fit, because this happens to be a long word. So as you can see, that's just how it works. I think that was the last one in this. There might be one more option. Okay, yeah. So if you have an indent, is what you would expect. It just indents this side. And if I go back again and do this, you can see almost like made it full justified. Maybe I'm not selecting it. We'll try it one more time. That might just be a glitch. Maybe I don't understand the tool well enough. You can see though that it doesn't seem to be keeping it. I'm going to tab to indent like that. You can see it indented the whole thing. So that time it worked. But you can see that's maybe a little bit of a flaky tool, or I just don't understand it as well as I could. But if it's, like any of these things, these are pretty standard tools. You're going to have to work with them and play with them with your site so you can get the look you want. I personally have not messed with that indent tool a lot. And it looks like for whatever reason it's grayed out at times. So if anyone really needs that tool and it's a stumbling block for you, you can email me and we'll figure out how it works. All right, so moving on, you can also insert tables. So tables are really handy. Like how we have these items listed here, this is fine if you just have a couple, but what if you have a whole bunch of them, like say you have 50, and now you got all this wasted white space over just sitting over here. So the tables can help us with that. So let's just come down here and insert a table, and maybe we'll just do a table of 4 by 3. And you can see now it's inserted this table, and I can come down here and go item number 1, item number 2, item number 3, item number 4, and then whatever you want in these columns. So it's like your little spreadsheet that you have here. And if you needed to get rid of a column, like you wanted to get rid of this one, you can hit that minus and it just drops it out. If you want to insert a column in, you can insert a column. So that's what these do here. You also, of course, get full access to all the text tools up here. And you can, basically you've got a little table to work with. And so for organizing content, as you can see, it gives you a lot more flexibility. Something I might do here and see if I could select. It looks like you have to select them individually, but you might bold your headers, for example, might be something you might do with a table. You might put an underline there. It might be a good time when you would use an underline and a bold, so that when people come to the and look at the table, it's real obvious that these items are grouped together. So not real complicated. It's a pretty basic tool, but you can use this table tool, as you can see, because you can decide how many of these you want, and it even stretches out up to 10. So you can have up to 10 cells. That it allows you to organize content and get it presented the way you would like, a little more flexible than maybe just a general blob of text like that. Remember, you can never just use space in the internet to do things.